All right. Well, because we got a big fing closing fing deal here. Because Twinkle Toes McFingerbang is back, baby. Kenny Olivier, the world's greatest wrestling artist, our old friend, he is back, and he came out in, I guess for AEW, it was a snazzy set of street clothes.
Hey, that was the healthiest he's looked. Now that we've seen him after a long hiatus, you realize how long he did not look very healthy. You know, if you look at his eyes here, it was very different than before he left.
It didn't look like two holes in a snowbank here. He kind of looked like he knew where he was and what was going on. He wasn't so frazzled, so stressed. He probably needed the CBD because he was so stressed.
Well, CB Distillery, to be specific.
Well, yes, that's the only place to get it, if you know what you're doing. He got some Kenny chance. He got some welcome back chance. He's got a giant gig on his forehead from New Japan. It looks like he got juice with a weed eater. And he's telling the story about a year ago. I got news. I had diverticulitis. And, the doctors said, wrestle again. If you hadn't come in when you did, you may not have been living. And he's asking the questions, about what his future is going to hold. He still can't talk. I think it's bland. I think it's wishy-washy. I think he's got the phone sex voice, and he sounds as exciting as a librarian. But basically, he was milking the people on how bad his health had been and what was next. And not only did he just wrestle in a Tokyo Dome, but they showed footage of him diving off the thing in the highlights from the Tokyo Dome. So where was the mystery here? There wasn't one. The people knew the resolution was going to be when he said, what purpose do I have on this planet? It's not about the money. It's not about the glory. What purpose do I have on this planet if I don't have you people cheering me every night? None. And he got fired up about how important it was for him to prove to the fans that he's still the best. And right as the overrun is starting, that's when Don Fallis's music plays. And I'm like, oh, God. And Don came out starting to speak in the entrance. He's on the microphone before he gets a few words out. Kenny dives out of the ring and just runs down there and jumps him, starts wailing on him. And here comes Lance Archer and Brian Cage, and they pull Kenny off and throw him in the ring. And here comes Kyle Felcher. And they beat up Kenny, and Cage, I guess they're going to try again with this fucking guy. He gives him the gut shot. Boom, oh my God, the diverticulitis. And then here comes Will Osprey's music, and he runs out with a chair and runs the heels off. Okay, so is there going to be some kind of, superpower alignment here? The original big flashy baby face and the new big flashy baby face. But then Osprey, when he runs the heels off, then him and Kenny have a face off and a stare down. And the announcer's like, oh shit, and they do nothing. But why would they be mad at each other? Because Kenny's been gone since before Osprey got here. The Japan again. Oh, they were mad in Japan. Who gives a shit? Nobody knows that. So instead of shooting an angle to tease a match with Kenny and one of these heels managed by Don, they put the fucking the attention on the match between Kenny and the guy that just saved Kenny from getting his ass kicked by other people. What? Normal people watching this are going to go, what the fuck is going on here? And that was the show.
I liked Omega charging Don Callis right away. That was something I didn't expect. And I thought that was a nice little touch. He really hates this guy who tried to stab him with a screwdriver.
You should have seen the other time he tried to stab him with that old-fashioned.
But if you look at the state of AEW right now, I don't care what you have planned. If you have Kenny Omega, why wouldn't you have him come back and do a promo saying, I'm here to save the company, I'm going to end this Moxley shit, and immediately go to that and end it? Because I don't think it's going to help Kenny Omega if that's the end goal, if he's going to be bogged down with the Callis family again now. No one said I want Kenny Omega to return to team with Osprey against the Callis family. And you shouldn't do Osprey Omega if you have bigger plans, and you got to get the belt off Moxley immediately. So that's my thoughts.
Do you think, is it just everybody telling Tony, not everybody, but a lot of people telling Tony, we just don't want to be involved with Moxley. We'll do something over here. Because he listens to those type of things.
I think with Jon Moxley, it comes down to Jon Moxley wanting to do something with someone else, and everyone else at the company, it's presumed, would be involved with something with Moxley, unless he didn't want to work with them.
The Boar Horseman.
It's the worst stable. Their fans don't care about him. Someone said, oh, you didn't hear them booing Wheeler Yuta? Give me a fucking break.
Yeah.
You're never going to convince me at this present time that Wheeler Yuta is over as a heel. They resent the push he's getting because he looks like a fucking child. He has no muscle mass. He has no size to him, and he's getting shoved down everyone's throat. It's not the same. It's not Dominic Mysterio heat.
When you're at the Macy's parade and from a side street comes a dump truck full of manure and blows over the fucking Smurf float and covers everybody in shit, they boo that truck too. That doesn't mean they want to see it again.
What are your thoughts, though? If you have Kenny Omega right now, the state of AEW, what would you do coming out of the gate? Do you build to something with him, or do you try to go right to it?
Well, no. They've established that he's a vice president. They just said that. He's still one of the EVPs.
That's right.
So just half the company, including all of the wrestlers that have been acknowledged to be executive vice presidents in the company, are either not present or completely ignoring this fucking crazy lunatic that's trying to take over the company. So how do... And Tony Khan has yet to make any comment, right, about on the program about Moxley or the Death Rider's intentions, even though when his own EVPs gave him the fucking flippy Meltzer pile driver on television, and it is so bad that he had to wear the neck brace to the NFL draft. He was all over commenting about that, but this is a guy who doesn't even have an EVP position and a band of followers he's got trying to take over the whole company and beat up all the baby faces. Tony has nothing to say about it. The guys who work for him either don't come to work or shows up like Kenny and doesn't even acknowledge anything's going wrong with the company. None of this makes any sense. So what would I do with to draw any money with Kenny? He's probably, does he have anything left with that other, for the kind of audience who likes this kind of thing? That's the kind of thing they like. Does he have anything left with Okada? Can Okada fall down 4 more times before he breaks in half?
And they teased that. Remember at World's End when Kenny Omega came out to present the Continental Classic award or belt or whatever it was, they teased everything with him and Okada again.
Okay, then have that match and put Kenny over. Because he's at least something that fan base likes that can actually produce something somewhat. But then I think you ought to pass the torch from Kenny to Osprey. I mean, whether the fuck Moxley and the whole goddamn thing, their belt's worthless. Nobody cares to see those fucking people anyway. But again, for their audience, the only one they got left, let Osprey beat Kenny to be the new high-flying, flippy-do Tokyo Dome sensation guy that they like. Because the one guy's had illness and injury and is almost on the downside of his career. And Osprey may have a few more years before he fucks himself up. So if they're going to do that, get Osprey over. But none of the booking makes any sense from where anybody is to say, well, I'd do this with that guy. Because then you'd have to rebook another 6 guys to get them to where they made any sense with them.